Hello. So this video is for the juniors. Again, this is for quiz 6 or 1.2.7 in Modernism and Language. And in this quiz, you're going to be it's going to be asking you questions about two poems. One is The Jellyfish and one is Grass. And I'm going to read those poems to you and then talk about some things that the quiz is going to be asking you about. So the first poem is The Jellyfish by Marianne Moore. And here's a jellyfish by Marianne Moore. Visible, invisible, a fluctuating charm, an amber-tinctured amethyst inhabits it. Your arm approaches, and it opens, and it closes. You had meant to catch it, and it quivers. You abandon your intent. And now here is Grass by Carl Sandburg. I read it already, but I'm going to read it again for this particular quiz. Grass by Carl Sandburg. Pile the bodies high at Austerlitz and Waterloo. Shovel them under and let me work. I am the grass, I cover all. And pile them high at Gettysburg, and pile them high at Ypres and Verdun. Shovel them under and let me work. 2 years, 10 years. And the passengers ask the conductor, "What place is this? Where are we now?" I am the grass, let me work. Okay, so the questions that you're going to be asked are going to be about these two poems. And as you're preparing for this quiz, remember the modernist texts focus a lot on disillusionment. And again, disillusionment is where you believed in a certain thing, or you believed in a cause or a person, and it ends up letting you down. Imagist texts focus on an image. They're not excessively descriptive. They reject the overuse of meter. And then there are 3 rules to Imagist works. The first one has to do with direct treatment of the thing, the subject of the sentence, of the poem, or the piece of writing. The second rule is you don't use more words than absolutely necessary. You don't get flowery and wordy. The third rule is, and I'm paraphrasing this, make it sound natural. Don't make it sound like a ticking metronome. Tick, 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 tick. Don't do that. No ticking clocks. No, don't make it sound like a metronome. Make it sound natural, like flowing, natural something. Also, Imagist poems a lot of the times use enjambment, and I've talked about that before, but I'll mention it again. So enjambment is where a particular line in a poem ends without a period or some other punctuation mark, and it flows down to the next line. And the purpose is often to take away, to follow that third rule, which is to make it seem flowing and natural, and not like a ticking metronome again. So it's also going to want, as you're reading these poems, think about the tone, meaning the author's attitude towards the subject, and the theme. What's the main idea of these two poems? Oh, and yes, when you're analyzing, you also want to know the steps of analyzing poetry. And those steps are, let's see there, 1, 2, 3. So you want to read the poem first. You want to paraphrase it. into your own words. You want to look at poetic devices, and then you want to determine the tone, and then you want to determine the theme of the poems. And so those are the steps of analyzing poetry. So here they are. Read, paraphrase, look at the poetic devices, determine tone, and determine theme. And that will help you with quiz 6 or 1.2.7, and this is for the juniors.